Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back and thanks for tuning in. In this episode, we have The Unit. The Unit. All right, The Unit put this replay on the official forums and asked, hey, what did I do wrong? And his concern was he was getting a bit of chiding from his team on what he chose to do, and some people popped into the forums and gave some constructive, some not so constructive criticism. And I put down a few bullets, but I thought I'd go ahead and just show you the replay since he put it out there. And we'll take a look at this, and it really does talk a lot about some of the very basic stuff that I talk about as far as the time you have in this game to be effective to create the means for a win. Meaning that, what is the tank I have? What is the map I have? What is the team I have? When I analyze that, what decisions do I make early, and where do I really need to be? There's a lot that goes into it. And most people kind of default really to, I'm a heavy, I'm a medium, I'm a light, I'm a TD, I'm an SPG, and they go from there. And then they might break it down to, I'm a second line support or sniper heavy, medium, yada yada. So let's take a look at this. I thought this start was kind of interesting because the camera view is inside the building right behind the 50B right here. And you can see that it's gone see-through, like it's a big window or something. It's not really a big window, it's kind of a... But now I can't really get back into there. I thought that was kind of interesting. Oh, there it is. So anyway, let's get started. Let us get started. So the unit AMX-50B, he is platooned with a 12T, and we are top tier, a top tier platoon. This is important as part of our calculus for deciding where we're going to go. What he said was, I wanted to go out to the field because I didn't feel like the 50B, and especially probably a Batchat 12T, was much of a sniper, or sorry, much of a brawler, not a sniper. Okay, fair enough. So you've determined you don't want to go to the brawling area. You feel like your tanks are not brawlers. Well, in this case, you're top tier. So that's really gimping your team down there in the south in the brawling area. Okay, so fine, you still made the decision. Well, what's the plan then? In this case, the plan seems to be jumping some bushes on a corner back here. You can see the Batchats up there. And not shoot. So we are at 1 minute and have not sent one single shell downrange. We're going to see her for a while. We can see that a large enemy force has gone to the south, and a relatively small force is up here in the north. We got a Su-130 PM. The Batchat's duking it out. He ends up killing the TAP, the Tier 9 version of the Batchat, and the unit comes around here and starts kind of looking for shots. Not much going on, and the Su-130's like, all right. And now the typing starts. So here we are, a minute and a half into the battle. The southern battle is hot and heavy. They've just lost Carnarvon. The 50B is sitting there. The 130 PM is typing. The Skoda T50 has come over here. And we're all sort of just stopping and we're typing. So getting a little salty. And everyone's telling everyone else how bad they are and what are you doing. And we haven't shot. And we're at 2 minutes. The south looks like maybe it's not going so good down there. If you notice the numbers, the 50M and the E75 have flanked around and are now coming in behind the stack. And we're still typing. And we're talking about people's colors. And we are now at 12:41 and we haven't shot a single shot. All right, so this goes back to the beginning, the assessment of the battle. If you were going to say that, all right, as top tier, I don't want to go brawl because I'm not a brawling tank, okay. But let's get a little push going on up here in the north. Let's be aggressive. Let's look for shots. Let's make shots. Let's not type. And by the time he reacts, we're almost at 3 minutes. Now watch how this goes down. They're down to Tier 9 and 2 Tier 8s. They've killed 1 Tier 9. And we're going to come over here. And the unit, to his credit, is going to start getting some stuff done. He's going to come close, but no cigar to turning it around. But my question then is to him and everybody else, what if he had actually been down at the brawling area? If he had that tank, nice job here, by the way, of prioritizing which tank to kill. He took a shot on the 75 and then killed off the, what was it, T54, which was a good idea once he saw that he was a one-shot. So he drops 1,273 damage, but they're down 2 to 6. So what if he had been there? just because he's not a brawler doesn't mean he can't be in there supporting. In fact, the 50B is a huge influence on that fight down there. Not only because it can jump out and clip the snot out of things, but because if the enemy knows it's there, they're worried about it jumping out and clipping the snot out of things. And they're less likely to do anything rash like push in hard. Had they come around on that flank with the 50B, he could have really shut that thing down. We take a couple shots in here. We got guys driving all over the place, and there we go. And it's 5-8. Now it's not a complete loss yet, but they are in a bit of big trouble here because they've lost all the meat shields the 50B needs to be effective. We got a Skoda T50, we got a Batchat 12T, a very light Su-130, and the 50B. All the tanks with any kind of armor that could have been made twice, 3 times as effective with the threat of a 50B nearby have already been eaten alive. Now, one thing he said also is, well, it was a E100. I didn't want to face up to the E100. All right, fine. But if you're going to do that, you've got to make a fairly aggressive flanking move. And you have to also understand that you are attempting a lower percentage play when you do something like that. It is definitely a lower percentage play. The higher percentage play is always going to be supporting your large force in the correct terrain, or the critical terrain as I call it, and that would be in the south on this map. In general, if you win the heavy push down the south, you will win this map. I said in general. This goes back to my analysis of, alright, I've analyzed that I don't want to face the E100 because I'm worried about him with my 50B. I have to do something different. Well, then you have to do something different, but you can't pick nothing, right? You can't say, well, I don't want to face up the E100 because I know he's going to kill me, so I choose to do nothing. That's going to get you into this situation where you're getting surrounded. The good news is that these two guys are working it as best they can. T25 comes around there. We get the T39 down, and now it is 12-9. Again, not completely impossible, but they are kind of hurting because you've got a Conqueror with some good hit points, and I think the E100 is also still doing well. And of course the Sturb and the 12T, plus 2 artillery, which are the kind of the wild cards. And we're sitting at 30 hit points in a 50B and 203 in a 12T. Conqueror's down to a 1-shot, so let's see if we can get this guy out. You know, people took him to task. To me, to some extent, rightly so. But they did come close, so I will give them that. Eventually, when he did start firing, he actually did a pretty decent job. And again, I go back to, that's great, but what if you'd have done that decent job much earlier in those entire 3 minutes that nothing was happening for you and the Batchat, other than the Batchat did take down the Tier 9 guy out there. And this may have actually been one of those games where you split up the platoon. Although, I will say, even a Batchat 12T down on the brawl down there is pretty dang dangerous, because if you can find a place where, and there down he goes in the U100, if you can find a place where you can get that Batchat 12T out and in amongst them, you can really do some damage slaying near deads. 12T is just not going to get away from the back. 25T is just not going to get away from the Batchat 12T. There was a lot in that, I think, and it was a great one to see the unit and with Desert Man as his wingman right there. I mean, they really did come close, closer probably than they should have, to pulling this thing off. But I would say definitely, I would, what would I put a percentage on it? I don't know. I guess I don't really like to do that. But I would say this game was an easy win if the 50B and the 12T went down to the south and helped their team mop up that big push down there. Because those two guns with that much clip potential would have made a huge difference down there, especially if they'd have managed to get there before all their armor died. Because then they're using the ST1, and even the 103 hull down is pretty darn good armored. Carnarvon's okay, all that good stuff. Well, let me know what you think down in the comments down there. You know, I'm not saying he definitely would have won had he gone there, but I think he improves his team's chance. And when you ask the question, well, hey, my team was on me, what did I do wrong? Well, it's not necessarily that you didn't go south, it's that you didn't do anything. If the plan was to go north and try to roll up the field because you wanted to take your strength against their weakness, noted. Okay, that at least is a plan. But going to the corner and sitting in the bush for 3 minutes and then typing and arguing with your team, that was not such a great plan. All right, guys. Hope you like what you saw there. Hope you learned something as you went. As always, we will see you.